Hi, and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about new releases that are coming out in October. Now, October doesn't have as many new releases, or at least ones that I'm interested in, as some other months have, but there were a couple that I found to be interesting enough that I wanted to talk about. So it looks like actually all of them I'm going to talk about come out on 2 different days in August. The first group come out on August 4th. August! Oh my goodness, sorry everybody. Let's try that again. October. They're coming out in October. The first set comes out on October 4th, and the second set of books come out on October 18th. So let's jump in and get started. The very first book I want to talk about, like I said, comes out on August 4th, and that is The First to Die at the End by Silvera. I have read the other book in this series, I guess you could call it, which is called They Both Die at the End, which I guess the title is a little bit of a spoiler alert, but it's a really interesting concept where you get a call on the day that you're going to die, and you don't know when, you don't know how, but you just know at midnight on that day that that's the day you're going to die. And there's an app that you can connect with people that are also kind of in this, I think they call it a death day, but I could be wrong. And we get a couple different characters who have gotten this call. And now looking at Goodreads, this is actually a prequel to that book. So they're calling it like book 0. And we're going to meet 2 new strangers who spend their life-changing day together once they get their fateful calls. But then there also is the question of, can the death cast, which is the people that are calling, predict when someone will die, or is it just an elaborate hoax? So I'm really looking forward to this one coming out. I really liked They Both Die at the End, which was actually suggested to me by a coworker. So October 4th, I'll probably be picking this one up. Another one coming out on October 4th is Endless Summer by Elin Hilderbrand, I believe it is. Now, I have several books by her, but, oops, I'm also looking at my computer, so don't mind me leaning over here. But I have several books by her, and I have yet to read a lot of them. They're chilling out over here. But I've always wanted to, and I know kind of as I grow my channel, I want to make sure I'm talking about things that not only am I interested in, but I think other people will be interested in as well. So on October 4th, this Endless Summer is coming out, and I believe they're going to be short stories. Yeah, it says 9 stories, prequels, sequels, and missing chapters from different parts of her cherished books that were never published until now. So more than likely, I won't be picking this one up right away because I want to make sure that I've read the books that are either going to be prequels or sequels or whatever. I don't want anything to be spoiled for me. But I'm looking here on Goodreads, and it looks like they list kind of which books are going to be like linked to and go from there. So I'm going to link this description of Goodreads in the description box below so that you can see which stories are going to kind of be connected. Because if you're anything like me, I don't want anything spoiled. So October 4th. And then there's one more that I looked at coming out on October 4th, and that's Pretty Dead Queens by Alexa Donne or Donne. Not sure how it's pronounced, but I actually didn't know anything about this book until I kind of started doing research on what was coming out at this point in the year, because I feel like a lot of the books as this fall season comes on, we're not getting as many releases, but I saw this one and I was like, ooh, that actually sounds pretty interesting. And I believe, if I'm remembering from my research correctly, that it is YA. Yes. So I'm going to read you the tagline from Goodreads because I don't think I could describe it any better. It says, Seaview High's homecoming queen is dead, and she's not the first. From the critically acclaimed author of The Ivies, which I have heard about but I haven't read, comes a non-stop thriller, buzzword, for me at least, about a decades-old mystery, a copycat killing, and a teen who won't stop until she discovers the truth. So that was ringing a lot of bells for me. I think it sounds really interesting. Like I said, I've never read anything by Alexa Donne or Donnie, but I know The Ivies has been on my list before, so that'll be one that I definitely want to pick up. And maybe even I'll have to check and see if we get it at school. So now the last couple books I have to talk about are coming out on October 18th. One of them is probably one of my most anticipated books for this year, and that is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. So if you have been around BookTube at all, or Book Talk, or or Bookstagram, you have probably heard of Colleen Hoover, and you've definitely heard of It Ends With Us, which is right here. I'm sure you've heard of this book. I'm sure you've heard people talk about it. I'm sure you've seen this cover. This book was fantastic. And I am so excited because now I gotta remind myself if it's a prequel or sequel. Because now I'm confusing myself. But, oh yeah, so this is Atlas's story. So I don't want to spoil too much, but Atlas was a character that was referenced in It Ends With Us. So we're going to get his side of the story, and what comes next. Okay, so it is a sequel. So you are basically getting the story that continues with our main character Lily from this book. So I don't want to give too much away about what It Starts With Us, but if you haven't picked up It Ends With Us, pick this up first, and then I won't doubt that you'll be wanting to pick up It Starts With Us as well. So October 18th. And the final book I want to talk about also comes out on October 18th. And this was one that I actually hadn't heard much about either until I started my research. And that is When We Had Wings. And there are 3 different authors, and actually these are some pretty big name authors when it comes to historical fiction. So I was surprised I hadn't been hearing more about it. And actually, the first place I stumbled across it was on a Goodreads giveaway. But this one is When We Had Wings, like I said, by Lawhon, Christina McMorris, and Susan Meissner. So some really big names in historical fiction. And it says it's an interwoven tale about a trio of World War II nurses stationed in the South Pacific who wage their own battle for freedom and survival. So I love World War II historical fiction. That's a big, call for me. A lot of the times the historical fiction that I pick up is going to be from that era, and knowing that these 3 authors have a hand in this book really interested me, and I'm looking forward to picking that one up. I don't think I won the Goodreads giveaway, but what are you gonna do? So that one, like I said, coming out on August 18th. And now that I'm actually looking here, it's set in the Philippines. So not probably a place that I have read a lot about when it comes to World War II. So those are 5 books that are coming out in August. Why do I keep saying August? Sorry, everyone. 5 books coming out in October. Clearly, I don't want it to be fall yet. 5 books coming out in October that I am looking forward to picking up. I do already have the Colleen Hoover one pre-ordered, so that one will be showing up on my doorstep before that day. As always, is there anything else that you want to talk about in the comments? Let me know if there are other books that you know about that I didn't mention here. And as always, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.